ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Dishealthy Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Yeah! Wow. Yo, what's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific Connor himself, Zealeus.
Greetings and salutations on this quite beautiful Thursday night of February 8th of 2024 in the year of the Lord.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, the Thursday Night Hangout, a live show where we try our best to cover the topics most important to you during the show. If at any point during the show you would like to add your voice, a question, a comment, an opinion, please do so by dropping it in the chat, be it YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. I tried to figure out the Twitter thing, but apparently it changes.
Whoa. It's X, bro. It's X. Give it times.
Twitter or Instagram. Apparently, like, it's a unique key every single time you start, and I'm like, that's ridiculous.
What about like Snapchat or MySpace? Just go all in.
MySpace. I don't know if MySpace has the capability to host us. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you, like I said, if you have at any point need to have your voice heard, please do so and drop it in the chat. We will try to add your question, your comment, your subject to this show. If we do unfortunately run out of time, we will add it to the very next show. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. And the first question actually has to deal with
Twitter.
No, with our show. And that is, someone has asked me, where the hell are you coming up with these names for the episodes? And the answer, my friend, is watch the show, because I will grab a random line or resculpt a random thought that's mentioned on the show, and that becomes the name of the episode.
And I'm glad Charlie does that, because I can't remember what I said or heard like 4 words ago. So like after the show, I don't remember anything.
And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. There are times where I will have one of those aha moments. Like there's probably some great one-liners that are said during the show, and I've totally like zoned out because I'm lost in the topic. So sometimes I just have to grab onto that that line that just popped up, even if it may not be the best. So it may not be the first line, and it may not be the best line. It may not be the last line, but it's there. We'll get it.
It's percolating somewhere in your mind.
Yes. I did mention this right before the show started. I know that last week it was a little weird for everyone who's tuning in. I think on Twitch, you guys kept getting bombarded with random ads. I have turned the ads off for the Thursday Night Hangout, and then I'll turn them back on when I do my regular streaming, because we are an affiliate, and we like to, it would be nice for Alta Confusion to survive with ad support, so we don't have to constantly be asking people for money.
I will be boycotting Alta Confusion if I have to watch ads.
Oh, Lord. Okay, anyways, let's...
Well, it's like there's a new sports like network thing that's supposedly coming out. But I don't know if you heard about that. It's like ABC, ESPN, etc. But apparently they're not going to let you record the sports shows, which defeats the entire purpose, because then you can't like fast forward and rewind and etc.
So you have to watch it live. So it's like going back in time, but streaming.
It's like going pre-streaming, because it's not even like a DVR, because at least for there's 5 to 10 years there pre-streaming where you could at least use a DVR and record, or earlier if you had a TiVo. So like we're going way back.
Fun times. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? The first topic we got to talk about is ASUS and MSI have had to make an announcement or a proclamation. And that is that they're extending their warranties on a couple of their OLED screens, because apparently they are getting lots of burn-in issues.
I mean, I've heard that was always an issue with OLED, especially like the first generations had issues with that. And if you think about video games, like if you're a hardcore, like, if you're someone who's putting like thousands of hours into some games, which some gamers do, oftentimes you have that same, whether it's a health bar or your character, like something in literally the same place on the screen the entire time you're playing. So that's probably where that burn is coming from. Is some of those like probably people are watching TV, like it's not an issue because it's always changing and etc.
Well,
But yeah,
not necessarily. If you're watching like your ESPNs or your news channels that always has the ticker.
sure.
Basically, the things that are most likely to be burnt into a screen are like toolbars and your user interface that does not move.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think my screen's LED still. Yeah, I don't have any LEDs. I'm all LED at this point in my life.
So basically,
I just want my 85-inch plasma TV.
So all of the plasma, heavy as shit.
I want to heat my entire room with one TV. Okay.
Hey, that's what I do in the morning.
That's why I want to upgrade to an 85-inch plasma because it could actually heat like my entire condo.
Yeah, I don't have the 85-inch. I've got the 50-inch plasma, and it does a pretty good job of keeping everything toasty. Unfortunately, it also basically nukes any ice cubes that are in cups that are in front of the TV, which is kind of sad because by the time sometimes you get distracted, you get up, and then you come back, and what was a tasty beverage is now a very watered down mess.
Sounds like a perfect like warm globe for a pet to sit on.
Yeah, that too. Thankfully, you can't sit on the screen. I mean, I guess you could technically no. It would take probably a full charge from an animal to knock that thing over so it could sit on it. But
so there's still time, is what you're saying,
huh?
There's still time for your dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Figure it out.
Anyways, so basically, the ASUS and MSI, they're one of their like main product offerings is the monitors, these screens.
Yeah.
So if you do have one of those OLED screens, your warranty is being extended from 2 years to 3 years. And here's the really good news. The warranty apply to all of their OLED monitors, including the latest models, ensuring customer confidence in purchasing from their brands. So it's not like they're just trying to, the backlog of previous models. It's even the brand new models are going to be part of this deal, which makes sense to me. I
mean, for me, when it comes to screens, outside of like basically dead pixels on arrival,
yeah,
they really should last pretty much forever.
Yeah,
monitors, TVs, etc. Like for the most part, unless you need to upgrade for more hertz or better pixels, etc. Like they generally last as long as you want until you feel the need to upgrade for whatever reason.
Yep.
Which I can appreciate. My secondary monitor is probably a 10 to 15-year-old monitor from back when I was in Minnesota, but it still turns on and emits diodes at my eyes.
Eureka. Okay, so the next topic that seems to be on the tip of everyone's tongue is we're going to go in reverse order here. There is a bigger story from the company I'm about to mention, but we'll go with the cooler and funner one first. Funner, is that more fun? I can't never remember.
Let's do Funnerist.
Okay, Funnerist, and that is, of course, that Overwatch 2 has apparently teased a humongous crossover that's going to occur in the near future, and that, of course, is they're going to do a crossover with Cowboy Bebop.
Yippee.
Come on, Zealeus.
I mean, I don't play Overwatch anymore, and I never actually watched Cowboy Bebop, so I'm obviously not the target demographic at this moment. I don't think Overwatch 1 did really any crossovers.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing.
They're taking the Smite route.
I think that's the big thing is that this is probably as a result of Microsoft influence, and also Overwatch 2 being free to play, right? Yeah.
Yep, it's free to play.
So there's going to be a crossover with Cowboy Bebop. For those who are still playing Overwatch 2 and you're curious as to what characters are going to get the reskin, I could tell you right now. And that is Spike Spiegel's skin will be on Cassidy.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then there are some hints about some of the other skins, and that being Faye Valentine, possibly a skin for Tracer, and Vicious, the bad guy in the uber bad guy in Cowboy Bebop, for Genji.
What about the corgi?
Okay, so this article,
It's very important.
they jokingly said, and it probably won't happen, but who knows? They jokingly said Edward and Ein. Edward, of course, is the bad hacker, and Ein being the corgi, and that is Edward is Ash, and Ein is Bob.
I could actually see that as Bob, because he's, a robot basically who just comes out from Ash.
So,
or why not?
There you go. But I mean, it's as an anime fan, and the just the avalanche of anime that seems to be now pouring out of everywhere. I swear to God, I've got Crunchyroll, I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu has anime as well, and so does Prime. There's a ton of anime that's constantly coming out, and it's nice. As much as I would love to say that I've been going the purist route and doing it all subbed, that's not the case because I have to work during the day. So dub is easier, and thankfully the vast majority of this anime is a lot of the anime is being dubbed, and that includes the ones that are being simulcast, which makes me very happy.
See, I'm going to go the purist route here. That I don't like crossovers because, like in Overwatch, like each character actually has its own story and lore. When I'm playing any game, I'm playing Overwatch. I'm not watching Cowboy Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like, it actually takes away from the core of a game. And this isn't just Overwatch, just in general. I'm not a big fan of crossovers when you can use other game or IP skins and a different IP. I don't want it. Like, I would rather that the developers be original and create own new interesting skins for that game that are all shiny and snazzy instead of having people basically dress up as people from other games. I'm just not a fan of crossovers in that regard. I think it takes away from the identity of video games, of the game itself, to do crossover. I get why it's done. It's money.
Money.
Yeah, I totally get why it's going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen because it works and it's successful.
Yep.
But I'm like, I love seeing in video games the
original character designs.
Designs that are created by the developers. I find much more fascinating than seeing designs I can see anywhere else.
I got you. Now, coming from a dad of two, I could tell you that I have spent some money on some crossover skins for my kids.
So it works.
Yes, it does. Very much so. And Paladin, they have crossover skins for Ruby. And in Brawlhalla, they have They had a set of crossover skins for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah, that we've
I know iRes has been doing the crossovers.
Oh, for a long time.
Yeah.
At first, see, in my silly brain, when I first heard, and this crossovers is a thing that's been happening for quite a while now. But when crossovers first got announced, I got excited because I thought that meant that in games like Smite and Paladins and Brawlhalla and Overwatch and all these things that have crossovers, that it's not an actual skin, it's an actual character being added. And that got me excited. And then I got really sad real quick when I'm like, wait, it's just, so my unique character that I love, I can make it look like something that already exists on something else.
Yeah. So, I mean, but again, it's a cosmetic skin.
Yep.
And it adds no actual functional, ponage to your enemy, then whatever.
I mean, the only benefit would be, and this is something that I'd be very interested. Is the original voice actors attached to this crossover? Because as anyone who's played like Smite or Paladins, or I don't think Brawlhalla though, but Smite and Paladins, they utter phrases while they attack. So I'd be interested to see if there's I mean that'd be expensive
Overwatch
as
definitely has
hell.
tons of. I mean, that's a big deal in Overwatch, our voice lines.
The Cowboy Bebop voice actors would be that would be an expensive pull.
I mean, I can't imagine how expensive purchasing a voice line would be if that were the case.
Yeah.
That would not be cheap.
No. Or would they just try to
just have AI do it, it's fine.
That's what I was going to say, but then that's okay, so you're crossing over from a different form of media, and I think that would fall under this Screen Actors Guild, which has.
I would have to consult my lawyer.
Yes, I know. Quick, someone call the voice actor lawyers. Let's see what this is all about.
They'd be like, "Oh, good question. We'll have to get back to you, sir."
He's like, "Oh, okay. I've got to actually call some of my clients real quick. I'll be back later." But you never know. It's cool that Blizzard's doing that. But speaking of Blizzard, let's talk about their new overlord, and that of course being Microsoft, and the shitstorm that they find themselves in right now.
Another video game shitstorm. Is it Tuesday or Thursday or a day that ends in day?
Yep, exactly. And it looks like we talked about the story. We've actually talked about this in consecutive weeks now, and that is the fact that there has been layoffs that have occurred at Activision Blizzard.
Wait. They assured the FTC during acquisition times that this would not reduce the headcount and there'd be no layoffs. That was not going to be a thing.
Exactly. And that, my friends, is why the FTC is now filed an appeal to reverse the merger. I'm like, I don't know. Okay.
Well, let's be honest. That's not going to happen.
No. But basically, for those who may not know, is that the promise that Microsoft made about the merger is that Activision Blizzard would act as an independent body, and there would not be this kind of move to remove redundant positions. Now, yes, redundant. Now, if you were to actually break it down, I believe that Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, if you were to look at the number of layoffs that have occurred, you would see that since the merger, 8% of Activision Blizzard has been reduced. And of all the layoffs, I believe it's 88% of the layoffs for Microsoft have been strictly Activision and Blizzard. One of the departments that was heavily hit, of course, was the esports department.
Yeah.
And of course, there was that entire department that was working on that new survival game. And no.
Sorry, guys. I said the argument would probably be for Microsoft is that in those two cases is that they're not redundant. We're not just not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. I mean, for better or for worse, Overwatch League was already on its, it was already getting the last plug pulled as it's on life support. And it's not like the survival game was moved to some Microsoft studio. It was just canceled. So the argument would probably be, which may not be totally inaccurate to be fair, is we're not redundant. We're just not doing it. Are two very different things.
Now, here's one of the arguments that someone in Microsoft said, and this is just pure effing gold. And that is that Microsoft was already planning to do layoffs before the merger happened, so they didn't do anything illegal. Okay, planning and saying you're going to do it or not do it in court, two completely different things.
That's very useful to, I like to plan after the fact when it happens and be like, oh, I meant it to do it that way.
Actually, we got memos right here that are dated before the merger that this was going to happen. So it shouldn't have been that big of a surprise. Did we omit the fact that we were going to do it? Yes, but we were thinking about it beforehand and in our brains. Yeah.
I solemnly swear that I'm telling the truth about we had planned to do these layoffs.
Yeah.
I dream about it every night.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never a fan of the mergers and acquisitions because it typically never leads to any good. I mean, I know that was part of the hope was like, oh my gosh, Blizzard Activision will have a better steward than, Activision with Xbox, I mean, with Microsoft, but it's still probably gonna be the same old shit.
Right.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, Microsoft has a decent record for video game publisher, but when you also own as many, developers as they do, they're going to get some good ones once in a while.
Right.
Like, just you're going to fall into hits. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I would not be surprised at all if Blizzard can. I'd be more surprised if Blizzard actually turns around and becomes the Blizzard of old. I would be shocked if that happened.
Yes. Ditto.
Because they're already so far into the
Activision model.
The games as a service is really what it comes down to. They're all doing games as a service. So, which from I would say old school gamer perspective, typically we're not a big fan of. Nope. Times are changing. I get that. We're not the target audience anymore, but that's just, it's not going to change because it makes the millions and billions.
So just there was an update from today from Microsoft spokesperson who stated, in continuing its opposition to the deal, the FTC ignores the reality that the deal itself has substantially changed. Since the FTC lost in court last July, Microsoft was required by the United Kingdom Competition Authority to restructure the acquisition globally and therefore did not acquire the cloud streaming rights to Activision Blizzard games in the United States. Additionally, Sony and Microsoft signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation on even better terms than Sony had before. So basically, the Microsoft spokesman is going, look, you're trying to change, you're trying to go after something that's not how things are now. So,
well, have you seen that's the other drama with Xbox apparently right now is like, I guess there's like rumors and acknowledgments that what were Xbox exclusive games are supposedly become to other consoles, like potentially Halo and Gears of Wars, and those games that like were the iconic, Xbox games.
Right.
And I guess Xbox fanboys are upset about that because it loses some of the allure of being an Xbox fanboy, I guess. Which to me is just, I mean, if anything with Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard, they're having more titles under the belt that are across every single platform in the face of the planet.
Yep.
And from Microsoft, and they've talked about that they want to bring their games to other platforms. Because the reality is they've lost this generation's console wars big time to both Nintendo and Sony PlayStation. So from a financial perspective, does it make more sense to just kind of cut your loss? I'm not saying don't make the Xbox anymore, but because you're past the point of your video games being able to sell the Xbox. That's just not happening for Microsoft this round.
Right.
So does it make more sense to just release them on all the platforms and make more money that way?
Yep.
I think that's where they're probably at. And they've also mentioned specifically they want to bring Microsoft Game Pass to other platforms.
Right.
which if you're going to do that, then it kind of also starts to exclude platform exclusivity a little bit. I'd be very fascinated to see how Nintendo or Sony would allow the Microsoft Game Pass onto their platforms. I'm assuming they would take a mighty hefty chunk out of that proceeds.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to. So yeah, they'd take a small king's ransom. Especially because at least Sony has their own Game Pass. So it's like, why would we let Microsoft do that when we have our own subscription service?
Right.
And then who the hell knows with Nintendo? They just do their own thing.
Nintendo is still baffled by online gaming. Okay, so let's just leave it at that.
Wait, do they have online games?
Some games have online capability.
Ooh, it's good to know they're in the 2010s at least.
Yeah, buddy.
So yeah, that's you always have the rumors for the next generation consoles, and that's what people are like. Is Microsoft can continue making Xbox for the next generation?
I don't see why not.
I mean, I think they will. I would be surprised. I will say that they did kind of lose their bet on the Xbox, because remember, that was the big thing around the Xbox 360 to Xbox One era. I remember us talking about their big bet was making the Xbox the media-centric console in your entire house.
Right.
Because they started to do the whole thing with like routing your TV through the Xbox and all that. Because you did that for a while, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was their big bet. And they lost. Like, it ended up not working out that way, mainly due to dirt cheap streaming sticks. Kind of defeat the whole purpose of having.
Well, let's be honest. At one point, even Sony was trying to push their PlayStation Vue through their console. So yeah. Microsoft wasn't alone in that. It's just, Microsoft.
That was, I think they were more in on it than Sony, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was their big bet.
Well, it's because they were banking on you falling in love with having the Microsoft like overlays and stuff to help enhance your viewing experience.
Sure. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see. It'll be interesting to see where all that goes, because we all know they all want to lock us into subscriptions for life and never actually purchasing a game ever again.
Yes. Yes, indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pause for just a second to thank the individuals who help Ultra Confusion be the greatest and best that we could be. And those, of course, are the friends of the show. And so without further ado, let us begin. First shout out we got to give is to the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indiecluster.com. The next shout out we got to give is to the AV master himself. That, of course, is Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodle Boy Media, previously White Kid 47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/noodleboymedia. Now, the next one is especially important if you're in the greater Atlanta area, and that, of course, is Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic's unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore, the company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They're committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. The next one is the Music Maestro, and that, of course, is CrossPad Creative. Need a new logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy? Or maybe you need music or audio for your content, just like Ultra Confusion? CrossPad Creative offers a whole host of solutions for individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com. zealeus.com and see what he could do for you. And I know that Zealeus, I think Zealeus knows this, but just in case, he is a redcoat.
Oh, good. I approve.
Which, for those who don't know what that means, it means that he was in the marching band for University of Georgia.
That's why Brutus is such good content.
Yeah, there you go. And the final shout out we got to give is to the original patron himself. That, of course, is Agile Axiom. By day, Axe leads both the development team and system administration team working on satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meetings and many times during, he is the Agile evangelist, Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of Agile and trying to make the world a better place for software developers, testers, system admins, and software projects the world over. Decades of experience in software development and leading Agile teams are brought to bear against evil processes, inefficient work, and bad habits. For more information, go to agileaxiom.com.
Yes.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know that, of course, at this very moment in time, you're like, oh my God, how do I become a friend of the show? Well, it's quite simple. I will tell you right now. And that is, helps if I turn the focus on. There we go. Alter Confusion survives on love and support of fans like you, and so we have a Patreon page. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, demigods, interdimensional beings, gods, demons, aliens, mummies, werewolves, like any type of werebeast, truly, supporters, and more to become active participants in the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. Currently, we have two tiers. We have the $1 tier, that's $1 a month or $12 a year. And what that'll get you is early access to our playthroughs, which, by the way, the new early access playthrough, The Invincible, is now up for you patrons. And, of course, the ability to participate in patron-only posts and polls. Now, if you're feeling extra frisky and you want to be listed as one of the friends of the show of every single Thursday Hangout, I highly recommend the $5 a month tier. That's $5 a month or $60 a year. And not only do you get everything at the $1 tier, but you also gain your name or organization added to the Friends of the Show section of every single Thursday Hangout. And Zealeus wants to point out that in certain restaurants, that is one coffee a month. At Starbucks, that is, well,
0.6 of a coffee.
Yeah, it's not a full coffee. So you could.
Well, I'm referring to black coffee.
No, I know.
Like just normal, boring black coffee. It actually gets you one. Anything outside of that, you're looking at excess.
All the frills and extra whistles.
Which tastes so good.
I'm sure it does. I will never drink that dirty water.
You don't know. You're just a bad man.
Oh, please. All right. So, some interesting news from the video game industry that could be really good or really bad. I'm going to be optimistic and say really good. And that is FromSoftware, the FromSoftware's parent company. Of course, FromSoftware is the studio that's synonymous with all of the Souls games, Dark Souls, Demon Souls. They also had this, in my opinion, a fantastic mech game called Chrome Hounds, which was way back in the day now. And I played.
They also had, I never played it, Armor Core Rubicon, which is supposedly really good.
Yeah, Armor Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Actually, all the Armor Core are supposed to be awesome. But this one is supposed to be even better. And, of course, the other big name title, if you're not a mech person, but you are an RPG guy and you know, hate yourself some days because this game is hard as balls, they're also the people behind Elden Ring. So this company, the parent company, has acquired one of the co-developers of Octopath Traveler, which was a great game, but the storyline was bullshit. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to get into it. I felt like there were so many good things, and then it just fell flat for me. So anyways, here's a fun tongue twister for everyone out there, and that is the fact that the FromSoftware's parent company is called Kitakawa. Kitakawa Corporation.
Okay.
And the studio, the co-developer of Octopath Traveler, the name of that studio is Acquire. Okay, so when you read all the news things, it goes Kitakawa Corporation has acquired Acquire as a subsidiary to foster collaboration between its studios and strengthen its gaming strategy. So it acquired Acquire, which I'm sure most spell checks is like, what is wrong with you?
And that greatly amused you.
It did, very much so. And to be honest with you, the like Octopath Traveler was a very solidly made game, and to add that type of developer to your stable, we're talking about a chance of a bigger company getting some super talent. You got it, or they got it.
So it's kind of funny. I'm looking at their website, and like they have their products. They have a tab for mobile apps. Their last mobile game, 2008.
Yeah.
I just find that kind of funny. Yeah, it's because you think about like the games they've been coming out with recently aren't really like the Octopath, type of games.
Yeah.
They're all very action-oriented type of games.
Yep.
So I'll be curious to see if on a game, getting an Octopath type of developer, if they're going to try like, a hardcore JRPG style of game, which I would stay far, far away from because I'm terrible at JRPGs anyways. And I were to go like super hardcore, we have to get just the, right mixture of parties. And you can't just attack and heal. No, you probably have to have like the thief who steals the exact right shit from the right monster at the right turn of their attacks to get the flying mantis potion they can then make to then down the other guy. But that's what happens in those hard JRPGs. Like you have to do that shit just right. That's not for me.
To truly experience the game, you have to know things that you're not supposed to know, but you need to know them.
Well, no, like I do. I didn't play them, but I watch people play them. I know, like they would take your thief character and just like randomly steal shit from all the enemies, and it's like, aha! This is that one piece of ingredient I've been looking for the last like 20 hours of gameplay. I can now make it to beat the Omega Core enemy.
Well, it's just like the Final Fantasy VII to like unlock, to get certain summons and stuff. You had to do like insane things.
Yeah.
You have one chance to run through this submarine, and there is this one hallway you could slightly see to the left. If you run over there, you could go down the hallway and into a door, and then you get this piece of materia, which is like the magical substance. But if you miss that easily missable hallway, and you run down it and you defeat the boss, that submarine blows up and you lost your chance to get that material, which you need to truly beat the game.
But here's the difference. A Final Fantasy game, now just to beat like the Omega Extra random boss, you can still beat the game. A FromSoftware game, you would actually probably not be able to beat the game. Like they would actually hardcore block you. Like, haha, sucker.
Well, okay, so there are not all of Square Enix's RPGs have an easy ending. You need to find those optional things in order to actually survive some of these attacks.
Fair enough.
Anyways, so, FromSoftware's parent company gains the Acquire, one of the co-developers of Octopath Traveler. Hopefully that means that kick-ass games that I want to play are on the horizon, and hopefully those games won't kick my ass like Elden Ring did. And just for the record, and I will fully admit it, yet again, I put 38 hours into Elden Ring, and I could never beat the first boss.
There's a reason we'll probably put 0 hours into Elden Ring.
Probably do it.
I'm the same way. I played Bloodborne, and I could beat the first. I guess he's not a real boss because he's not actually a checkpoint. I was like, aha, after so many hours, I beat the first boss. But then you get to the next part, and you die to like these. I remember it was like these damn hounds. And then you go back, and I have to play this, not really a boss, but to me, he was a boss. And I have to go through it all again just to get the damn hounds. And I'm like, no. I understand some people love those games, and it's all about get good, bro. And I've realized that. I totally understand that. I don't have the patience or time to get good. Well, I will amend that. I'm okay with getting good in a game. Okay, so going down the road of difficulty.
All right.
A game, for instance, like Mass Effect, I'm happy to crank up, or kind of like those type of like RPGs from BioWare. I'm happy to crank up the difficulty because if I die, I just redo that battle.
Yeah.
Like, it's like not the end of the world, right? I'm like, okay, I learned like, oh, there's this random enemy over here I have to take down first, redo on super hardcore mode. I can do this.
Yep.
But in a game like Bloodborne, I'm assuming most of FromSoft games are like this. Like, you have to do like the last half-hour run again to get to the save point that you haven't got to yet. That I don't have the patience for.
So in Elden Ring, what would happen is I would lose the first boss, and then I'd have to spend 30 minutes collecting ingredients in order to, like, you know, power myself up enough so that I might stand a chance.
I don't have the patience for that in video games anymore. Like,
nor do I.
No, I get it. Like, but that's the great thing though, is there's obviously an audience for a game like that. People enjoy them for various reasons. And it's great having competition with different genres of video games for people to enjoy.
I'll tell you what, there's a game that came out recently called Blaze Blue Entropy Effect. And it is a side-scrolling button masher, kind of rogue-ish type of game. I will play that. I don't care if I die in that because I just jump right back in. And yes, you lose all the power-ups from that run, but I don't have to do 37 steps in order for me to get ready to actually get back to the game.
Yep, I hear that.
So another bit of news, of course, with all the layoffs and whatnot, and this, of course, was not just Microsoft. I mean, tons of companies are doing layoffs. A lot of big name.
Oh yeah, just read the news, and it's a bloodbath out there.
Yeah, oh shoot, I can't remember what's the name of the company.
It's confusion.
No, EDIOS Montreal.
Oh, that's a name I haven't thought of in a long time.
They of course are in charge of the Deus Ex game, and of course they hit a huge layoff, and apparently that's resulted in the cancellation of the next Deus Ex game. I mean, yeah, there is one ever so like. I don't know. Like I think it's now once a week when I'm looking around at the news and stuff. There is one vital group of individuals that have their toes in the water of the video game industry that basically say this is not the time to be involved in video games, and that is the voice actors. Because they are. I mean, it's constantly. Shit is changing by the second, and because the voice actors, hopefully they're doing more than just video game voice acting, because if they're not, I mean, then they're probably on their friend's couch by now, because you just don't know. A lot of these projects are not going to fruition, and also just so you know, when was it? EDIOS Montreal laid off 20% of their workforce last month.
Yikes.
So, for someone who, even if you're a recognizable voice, one of the guys that I read about, he's the voice actor for the lead character of Deus Ex. And he actually came out and said that the video game industry is a disaster zone because of all this turnover and layoffs and restructuring, and go find something else to do.
Yeah. Yep. I don't really have much more to add to that, but it's kind of technology right now in general.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Microsoft. I know Microsoft laid off people from the video game, but it's not just their video game department that they laid people off. Like in general, they have Amazon. You've seen their layoffs. Like it's just it's almost like a rebalancing right now of hires to hopefully sooner rather than later stop the purge of laying off the workers and kind of get back to normalcy as far as the hiring cycle goes. But that seems to be the trend right now in tech, and I'm including video game development in the realm of tech for this, in terms of this, where it's rough right now.
Yes, very much so. And the real sucky thing is the fact that the only games that seem to be safe right now are the remakes, remasters, reboots.
I thought you were going to say like gotcha mobile games too.
Oh, that too. That too.
If you can make a game that a whale will purchase, more power to you.
Yes. Well, there's a game. There's always gonna be one game that will trip me up, and I'll be like, oh, 99 cents. That's fine. Oh, $4.99. Well, I already did 99 cents because once again, once you buy in once, that's all it takes. Then the floodgates are open. Because you see how much more enjoyable the game gets because you spent that little bit of money. Yeah. You bastards.
I hear that, yo.
You freaking bastards. So, one of the questions I was asked of Alter Confusion before the show, and I wanted to ask Zealeus, is there a current or past animated TV show that you think would do well as a live action TV show? The person who asked the question would love to see a live action version of Rick and Morty, which it would really have to be the perfect Rick and Morty.
See, I'm one of those people who I'm not enthralled or enchanted by I'm a firm believer that some products are meant to be in a certain medium and they don't need to be translated to a different media. Like I've said time and time again, like I don't want the Name of the Wind made into a TV series or movies. It's the perfect novel with the prose and the way it's written. I do not want it as a movie because it couldn't do it justice. Harry Potter, I was always fine with being a movie because it's far from the greatest prose on the face of the planet. In fact, it's not that good sometimes. It does certain things very well, which I think actually translate well and great to a screen. So it depends. So like iconic anime, like it's anime for a reason. Like why, money aside, because I know that's the reason why, but like let's just pretend we care about culture and the actual product you're putting out. I would more be curious what product from an anime perspective could be improved and actually add benefit to the overall culture of cinema by changing it from an anime to live action, I think might be a better question. Now I'm trying to think of an answer because I also don't watch anime as much as you.
Animated. So it doesn't have to be anime.
I'm putting it all in the same. I don't watch much animation in general, whether it be anime or animation, whatever it is. I don't watch a lot of it, to be honest. And most of the stuff I do watch is going to be more of the fantasy sci-fi route.
Right.
Like, for instance, recently, like the Castlevanias and the Fate sagas and those type of things, which by and large, like they don't do well on the TV. Like some do well, don't get me wrong, but they end up being like campy or crappy CG or like some other major thing that just makes it not as good as it otherwise should be.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff I'm very happy with it. Oh yeah, Arcane's coming. Like it's just, like I couldn't like Arcane's perfect in the anime format.
Right.
Like great. Like I don't. Yeah.
So,
and I think the other issue run into also when you move something from, when I say anime, I mean animation, all of the stuff to the silver screen. You also end up Hollywoodizing it and bastardizing it, kind of like we saw with Trigon, where it's great in this one format, but there seems to be something about when you move it from animation to live action.
Cowboy Bebop.
Sorry, yes, my bad. I was like, I don't think it's true. Yes, Cowboy Bebop. It's like you lose that creative license almost. And you have to now standardize to the Hollywood norms and do focus groups and all this other stupid shit. Whereas it really feels like when you do anime or animation, whatever it is, like you actually have the freedom to actually have creative license and do things on the cinema or on the TV that you just couldn't do if it's live action.
Right. No, I think, in my honest opinion, I think that I would rather see live action shows. I think there's some live action shows that by basically removing the human live action element might actually improve it, because you'd well, first of all, one of the reasons why the Cowboy Bebop live action took so long is that the guy who played Spike Spiegel, doing all of like the high kicks and all of the action scenes, he like hurt himself bad. So that you take that out. Like I said, with the Rick and Morty thing, it would be interesting to see a live action Rick and Morty, but I think it'd be more of those what's the basically just a fan thing that a bunch of actors got together and did a 10-minute episode or something. I don't think that it would be able to last for the entire run. And also, I think that like some of the animated comedies that are on TV, especially like on like Fox and whatnot, I don't think that they like the jokes and the just the pacing would work with humans, like live action. Like I think I would I don't think I could last a single episode of Family Guy if it was live action. I don't know.
Oh, we would hate that human.
Yeah.
It would be
or how about a live action Simpsons? I just, actually one episode of live action Simpsons, you're probably calling Child Protective on the show. Yeah. It's an interesting concept. I'll say that.
Okay, so question for you then.
Yeah.
You watched One Piece. So what made One Piece work well in the live action?
The creator of One Piece is heavily a part of the live action. Like if he does not give the sign off, it does not happen.
So kind of like I was saying with the creative freedom, where they had I guess the opposite, as they were creatively restricted to the actual source material of the anime, which is what you would want.
Yeah. The only downside, some people would, there are some One Piece purists out there who will say, but they took so much out to do the live action. Look, here's a fun fact about a lot of anime, especially One Piece and Dragon Ball Z and a lot of these longer running animes. They fill it to the brim with fluff. Dragon Ball Z is the worst at it. In my honest opinion, it's the worst. It's like, in this episode, Goku does a right kick, and Bulma goes shopping with Krillin for the rest of the episode. Oh, look, they're having a sale on, I don't know, Bulbasaur skin boots. And it's like, and back to the action. Like, you could slim down lots of these animes that have a lot of fluff into, in my opinion, a much more action-packed and enjoy. I understand that sometimes you do need a break from the fight and the dialogue, the witty back and forth that occurs between some enemies, and saying witty in a sarcastic way. Because sometimes it's just you're just like, oh dear God, just please punch him. Why are we still letting him talk?
So one anime that I actually think would work, I'm probably going to butcher how to actually say this correctly, is Code Geass or Code Geass.
Yeah.
I think that would actually work because that's more of like your kind of almost normal kind of spy type of show where it's like he has two lives type of deal.
Yeah.
So something like that I could see actually working. But again, it's not high in the fantasy realm.
Right.
Like we have like weird, crazy superpowers. I mean, you got some, mech things going on, but
right.
That's not a new show.
I mean,
so that I think would work.
Now
here's one that I don't think would work because it would be. Oh wait, that's not. What is this show called?
How about Record of Lotus Wars?
I was thinking about that one.
I don't think. I think some parts could be done, but not the whole thing.
I mean, it's classic high fantasy. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings in a way.
How about Berserk?
So violent.
I know it's so violent, but it could.
So here'd be one that'd be entertaining.
What's that?
Kill la Kill.
No, Jesus. Oh my God! You would have to put it. You would have to put it on on like an HBO or a Max or something like that. The amount of partial nudity in every single episode is astronomical.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I was thinking of ones that would never happen. I'm like, Kill la Kill would be at the top. Well, let me put it this way: if they didn't do it like the original Kill la Kill, it kind of defeat the whole purpose.
Yeah, the whole premise. Okay, sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't watched Kill la Kill, plug your ears for the next 2 or 3 minutes. But the whole premise is that clothes can control you, and that by wearing less, you can get stronger. And the hell, there's an entire squad of individuals who are naked because they don't want clothes to control them.
It sounds crazy, but it's actually good anime.
Oh, it's a great anime. It's just you got to get over that, the weirdness factor of the girl's clothes being alive and basically very revealing.
Yeah. So, one I think we can mark. I'm still thinking about Berserk.
Yeah, I think it might work. I think it might have worked.
Do we need somebody who's like very like the most machoest of macho men to be Berserk?
Yeah.
You know who would actually work well for it?
What, who?
John Cena. Because like when he goes into serious mode, like I know it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
But when he does like his serious face and like serious mode in movies,
yeah,
he's intimidating.
Yeah, no, that's it. Ironically, I know this is totally off subject, but since you brought up John Cena, there is a character in Blaze Blue Entropy Effect that basically is screaming stuff when she attacks, and my youngest son comes down and he's like, why does your character keep screaming John Cena? And I'm like, what? And now that's all I hear is like, John Cena, John Cena, John Cena. I'm like, oh my God, what the? Anyways.
I mean, I would love to be surprised because, something probably original, like for instance, a good example would actually be Pacific Rim.
Mm-hmm.
Like that and original hearing about it, that sounds like an anime to me, right? Yeah. Like that does not, or animated, whatever you want to call it. I'd be like, that's not going to work well on this TV, but it worked great.
Yep.
So it can work. Because you got, big fucking robots fighting big fucking monsters, and it was glorious.
Absolutely.
But, you have to have the right director, the correct writer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously does not always work.
No, it does not.
Yeah. So, yes, I do think Lotus Wars could actually work. Again, you'd have to have the right circumstances. You just couldn't, do anything. But I do think of the animes, I do think that's one that would be one of the more straightforward and easier ones to do, honestly.
Well, I thought that Cowboy Bebop would have been easy, but I was proven wrong. And I would love, I think the Trigun is another one that could, if they actually kept it, to either the anime or I'm a I'm hoping that I actually get the manga collection soon because it was supposed to come. I was supposed to get it as my own personal Christmas present, but it got pushed out to April of this year, so I'm still waiting for it. Yeah,
You're going to be waiting a while still.
I know, and I'm very saddened by that. But anyways, yeah, there's just so much anime right now that my brain is on overload. But I mean, going the anime route or animated, seeing it live action, it just, I think it truly will come down to the right people, be it the actors and the writers and the scene designer or the set designers, because you could have the best thing, but if it looks like shit, it's going to fall flat. Okay.
Yep.
So we have one more question. And this is way too complicated of a question for me personally, but is there a game or a genre that you haven't tried that you're dying to try? And the answer is there are so many freaking games out there, and there's new genres that are coming out every single gosh darn day that I don't know if I can truly answer that question. I will say that the problem is, I wish this person had told me if they were talking about games that are already out, because I would love to play the new Witcher, but it's not out yet. I would love to see what the Cyberpunk sequel is going to be, because I think that would probably rock my socks off, but I don't have access to that right now.
I wish I had the patience to play FromSoft games. I just don't. But I wish that were, like, of the genres I wish I could play, I guess that I don't because I suck at them, it would probably be the Souls type of games. Because typically the combat's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
Like, there's so many good things about it.
Yep.
It's just damn hard. It's the same thing. Like, I like FPSs. I've played Remnant. It's just so fucking hard.
Actually, there is like a sub genre of RPGs that I wish that I had more faith. You talking about soul-like games makes me think there's a lot of games out there that are like RPG. They're usually turn-based RPGs, and they have the permadeath. If the character dies in combat, it's gone forever, and that has scared me away from so many games. I
think that's actually why I like action RPGs in the last year or two so much. Is, for the most part, particularly for the campaign, is you're just some overpowered dude going in, and you can just go Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
And not really you don't have to think about your builds. Like, I mean, lately I played Last Epoch, Diablo 4, Path of Exile, Grim Dawn in the last couple of years. And like, none of those games for the campaign have I looked up any build whatsoever. Right. I do just fine getting to end game. Now, you get to end game, you need meta. That's totally different. I'm fine with that.
Right.
But I like playing games where for the campaign, you don't have to do like 8 hours of research and be able to write a dissertation about why you have to do things exactly correctly to beat the game.
Or
I just like
actually
going and
get to the enjoyable part of the game.
Yeah. So I think that's a large part why I like ARPG so much, is the first X number of hours is just, that's why I have recently really liked Warhammer 40,000, because it's just over gratuitous violence of killing evil things in space. It's just entertaining as hell to me to take a big old chainsaw flamethrower and just kill hundreds of mobs.
Oh god, yes. A game that I played the last time I streamed, a Tower of Fantasy. First of all, I had a much better experience.
Another MMO from Charlie?
I had a much better experience. I actually wanted to continue to play the game in comparison to Albion Online. It's got that anime feel. It definitely looks like a game that will nickel and dime you later on. But for right now, I mean, I feel, I don't know. I felt more freedom. If I'm going to play something online with lots and lots of people, I want that Defiance experience where I could be a lone wolf and then jump into, instant situations and help out. And depending on how much I helped out is how much I get credit for when the mob boss or whatever falls.
And did you feel that in Tower of Fantasy?
I have not had that. I mean, in Tower Fantasy right now, I'm strictly it's just me slicing and dicing and causing all kinds of mayhem, which I love. I like that. So I mean, I'm definitely going. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. I'm definitely going to at least give that game another try. And
Nice.
fun fact: if you were watching me this past Tuesday on the stream, I did have the game drops enabled. It turns out that the drops that were being given out were only for individuals who have PlayStation version of Tower of Fantasy, and not the PC.
So what are game drops?
So game drops are if you get to basically as a streamer, you get a list of games that that the developer or the publisher have enabled to give you like it's basically a reward for watching a stream for so long. So for example, if you watch me play 30 minutes of Tower of Fantasy, you would get an indicator on Twitch that said, hey, you've now got this drop. You can link it to your account and it will appear in your inbox in game.
Ah, interesting.
I used to that's how I got some of the stuff for like Smite and Paladins back in the day.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So, but
I saw Lost Epochs doing that for the release later this month.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that usually to kind of like drum up the viewership and participation of like a new release or a huge update or an event, they'll use Twitch to do drops.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anywho, so I guess also I like to actually enjoy an MMO where I'm not constantly being, shown constantly being thrown down to the ground going, well, it's because you don't have a party, so you can't actually play this game without actually being told that. God dang it, I want to play. If I want to enjoy the game by myself, I want to enjoy the game by myself. I'm not looking for in-game. I'm not. It's not even in-game content, it's literally just the third round of missions out of 1,000 or something. And it's like, oh no, sorry, you can't do that. Anyways, bless you, Zealeus. Although no one heard it, but I saw it, so haha.
I have to remember, like, wait, which tab has my mute?
Yeah. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we've reached our end of our show. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into the Ultra Confusion Thursday Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving you everything that comes out of our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
And remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.